in the lead up to this Christmas, one of the most popular memes that's been going around states that Jesus was a Palestinian. Now, of course, Jesus was a Jew from Judea. I'm sure there's a clue in there somewhere. Jesus would never have even heard of the word Palestine because it was 100 years after his death that a Jewish revolt led to the Romans punishing the Jews by kicking most of us out and renaming the area Syria, Palestina. And since then, there has never actually been a sovereign country called Palestine. Now, facts are pesky things to pro-Hamas activists. There's another meme out there which asks how Mary and Joseph would make it to Bethlehem on this night through the present security walls in the West Bank. What they, of course, fail to mention is that as a Jewish woman, Mary would most likely have been raped and kidnapped, with Western feminist organisations then totally ignoring Joseph would have had his head cut off. Now, all of that activity is online. It doesn't affect the real world, or does it? Rival media organisations are making this big deal about how this year in Bethlehem, Christmas is supposedly cancelled, with blame predictably being directed at Israel because of the Israel-Gaza war, a war that Israel did not start. And what those media organisations always mysteriously fail to mention is how, because of Islamist persecution, the number of Christian Palestinians in Bethlehem has decreased from 86% of the population to now just 10%. In Gaza, since Hamas took over in 2007, the 3,500 Christians are now down to 1,000. And in Israel, it's the only country in the Middle East where the Christian population has actually increased. And what about closer to home, in the West? Yesterday, pro-Palestinian activists shut down the entrance of O'Hare Airport in Chicago just as thousands of people are trying to get home to their families for Christmas. And look at this clip from Australia. In Melbourne, a Christmas carol event was disrupted by activists storming the stage, ruining the hard work of the performers and marring a special evening out for families. And even closer to home today, yesterday, actually in London's Oxford Street, here we are, the now weekly outing of Islamists and far-left cranks succeeded in shutting down shops and preventing people from getting their Christmas shopping done. The Met Police then had the temerity to post online that the march was peaceful, as though intimidating shops to close on one of their busiest days of the year is somehow peaceful and acceptable. What's even more insane is that that particular shop in the clip, Zara, has absolutely nothing to do with Israel. It's a Spanish fashion company that I sometimes buy shorts from. Activists have taken offence at an advertising campaign that they feel mocks tragic Gazan civilian casualties, except the link is tenuous at best, not least because the ads were conceived and shot in the month before the pogrom against Jews on October 7th. Now, this isn't to say that there aren't any legitimate questions to ask about the conflict between Israel and Gaza. Is Israel doing everything it can to prevent civilian deaths? What's the best way of getting the hostages home? What does the future for Gaza look like? Ask these questions, sure, but don't lie and incorporate terms that don't apply, like genocide and ethnic cleansing and apartheid. Now, here's a clip from yesterday in Gaza. Oh, wait. It was actually Turkey bombing Kurdish positions. How strange to not see that on the news or being condemned by the Islamists and the far-left cranks. What a bunch of hypocrites. They're happy to try and ruin Christmas for everyone else, but they won't protest or post stuff when it's Muslims killing Muslims. When hundreds of thousands were murdered in Syria, I don't remember activists trying to shut down Christmas then. And why not, eh? Because simply it didn't involve Jews. So I'd like to say to all these supposedly pro-Palestinian activists, and by the way, I consider myself pro-Palestinian, please, it's Christmas. Leave Jesus alone. And whilst you're at it, can you leave his people, the Jews, alone as well?